Hi patrons, this is Joe Barnard here with a long overdue update. So we're gonna go through a bunch of things real quick so that I can get you guys up to speed and try to make up for the several weeks of lost update videos. And then we'll move on from there as if nothing happened. The first thing is that I moved. It took a long time. It wasn't that fun, but it's done now. And I have a bunch of new furniture. I'm very familiar with how to read IKEA instructions, and we're pretty much ready to go. The rocket factory is back in order. About half of my time is spent building signal kits, so that's testing boards, making sure everything works, and then packing bags full of tiny screws and little bent push rods and things like that. It's pretty boring work, but it's getting there, and we are on schedule to ship on time, which is great. Some of you have ordered signal kits. I know most of you have not. So the thing that is, I guess, more interesting to, I think, most of the patrons is Sprite. That's like what is going on with BPS right now, majorly. Boy, I'm bad at sentences. The point is that Sprite is the main focus of a lot of my work right now. So this is an electric ducted fan powered hopper/lander vehicle. I think most of you are familiar with that, but if you're not, I figured we could go on a little tour around the whole vehicle here. There's a video on the primary channel, bps.space, that sort of explains what Sprite does, but let's go over it here. So just up front, we've got the Sprite flight computer. This is powered by a Teensy 3.6. We have a small backup IMU. That's the Bosch BNO055. And then we have a barometer on there, which is, I think, also Bosch, and it's the BMP280. You know what? Don't quote me on that. It might not be Bosch. Either way, over here, there's a small ignition circuit. This is a big step-up transformer. I believe that's what it is. I'm not great at electronics. But this takes a 5-volt signal, steps it up to, I think, a couple thousand volts, and that's what's going to give us an arc ignition for the afterburner, which is a tank of butane, or lighter fluid rather. That lighter fluid is going to sit on the back of the craft and be servo actuated so we can turn on basically propellant flow whenever we want to with the flight computer. So the lighter fluid comes down, it gets ignited by this ignition circuit with a little spark, little arc, and then we're off to the races. Now, I mentioned that this IMU right here is a backup IMU. That is true, because this IMU right here, the VectorNav VN300, is the primary IMU. So this has 2 different GPS receivers right here, or GPS antennas. And then it has some pretty nice gyroscopes and accelerometers inside there, as well as a magnetometer. This was donated by VectorNav. I did not spend $5,000 on this sensor. Yeah, that's out of my IMU budget. But anyway, yeah, this was donated as a sponsorship for the project, and so that's why we're using this super fancy sensor. Down below, we've got thrust vanes and TVC servos. I should have a video up later today, or maybe when you're watching this, that explains a little bit more about the thrust vanes and just a little bit more detail on calibration and things like that. Now, moving up back here, there are 2 batteries on the craft. So there are, let me just unplug this here. Well, there are actually 3 batteries on the craft, but 2 of them are on the side. So we've got 1 right there and 1 right there. They sort of straddle the center. Those batteries are the primary batteries for the electric ducted fan. So those feed into this massive ESC right here. That's an electronic speed controller that converts it to the 3 different lines that are used for the 3 different phases of the motor. And then the motor turns on and the fan goes. I hope this is interesting. Okay, and then the third battery is for just avionics, because we don't need to be pulling a crazy amount of power from the craft, or a crazy amount of power from those primary batteries. So the avionics, this is also better for testing too. The avionics are on a separate battery that's a 2S LiPo, and so 7.4 volts nominally, something like that. That goes basically directly into the computer, and then all of these things are switched by these toggle switches here. So you can see it's turning on now, and it should go through a little bit of a startup procedure here. Give it a sec. Okay, or maybe, oh no, here we go. Oh, I know what I did wrong. The servos are on a separate circuit, right? So there's this input here called switch. The servos are on a separate circuit because they draw a lot of current. So if you don't want to be testing the servos and you're just writing software on the ground, you can power things without pushing a bunch of current to the servo. So here we go. I'll turn these both on. The startup procedure happens, waits a couple of seconds, starts checking out the IMU, and then, hopefully, here we go. Okay, so those are the TVC vanes down there. One of the things that I'm having trouble with right now is there's some power leak or constraint. I don't know if you noticed, the LEDs sort of dim a little bit when the servos actuate. So those pull quite a bit of current. So that's something that I'm sort of like trying to trace down right now. Let's move on to other parts of the craft. We've got a LiDAR here. And so this is just a LiDAR Lite V3 from Garmin. I actually bought this because I thought I would put it on Echo for a little while, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I think it's just gonna stay on Sprite. Speaking of Echo, we can probably just move on and talk about some other stuff now. Echo is, I think, gonna do at least 2 more drop tests this year, maybe 1. I actually have already had a drop test of Echo. I'll overlay the footage here. The patrons can get like a special special update. Anyway, so the rocket came down and it hovered a little bit above the ground. It actually got pretty close to landing, I would say, but that bounce on the legs is, I think, the final thing we really need to dial in for that. Because even with that drop above the ground, that bounce is really what gets us. So what I'm gonna do is stiffen up the legs a little bit just by adding some more material on the side so it's more difficult for them to bend, and then I'll go out to the test site and try it again. I think most of you know I had a bit of a surgery this fall, and so that really halted the Echo stuff and any testing in the field for a while. Okay, what else can we cover here? You've probably already seen it on the main channel, but I'm switching up how the main channel works for just a few, like a month or a month and a half maybe, as an experiment. I'm posting whatever and whenever. My intention is still to keep posting more details on Patreon, and a lot of the update stuff, I know I push this every time, but a lot of the update stuff is happening in the BPS Discord. I'm there most days, like documenting progress, and we're just chatting a bunch. So that is, I feel like, one of the most valuable things that patrons can have access to right now. And then, as always, still looking for feedback. I know things are never really constant or predictable with this, and again, the support for this type of ridiculous model rocketry, whatever this is, work is incredible. So whatever you all think is a good idea for me, I'm always happy to hear it. And I would love to incorporate that kind of thing into what I do because you fund it. So yeah, you make this house a reality, by the way. I moved into a house. I didn't buy it, but I'm leasing a house, which is much better for just the amount of work that I have to do, which can't really be done in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I'll give you a quick tour here, actually. That's probably a good idea. Come with me. Here we go. Okay, so starting off in the garage here, there's my car and then a bunch of junk in the back. The garage is gonna be really helpful in the winter when things get super cold outside, and it'll be more helpful for testing Sprite for just small hops inside. So you come in, there's a table here, nice IKEA table. I've learned how to assemble a lot of IKEA furniture recently. Okay, so we've got Sprite, and then there's my kitchen, there's some video lights. These were like $30 on Amazon too. I super recommend them. Yeah, there's a kitchen, there's the desk, so sending emails, editing videos, all that stuff happens there. There's unknown area here. I don't really know what's going on there. Okay, and then we've got a bathroom over there. There's a bedroom. This is the workspace. This is probably the most interesting thing. Once again, Moon Man. Thank you so much, Xander. He made this incredible sign that lights up and it changes colors. And so that is like front and center here. We've got the old rocket corner. These are the Zippo butane fuel canisters. We get a toolbox and a desk here, and then a bunch of parts under here for signal. These are basically pieces of kits that are ready to come out. Let's see, we've got the table here, soldering iron. A lot of this stuff is the same. Here are the planes that I've been working with. Launch pad, thrusty McThrust face, a bunch of really pretty looking boxes there. The CNC is there, although I think when it's working, I'll probably just toss it in the garage. And then this is the printing closet. which has even more parts for Signal over here. Okay, so coming out of the printing closet, there's another closet here with just a bunch of junk. The test stand, fire extinguisher, because don't want to burn the house down. And then a little living room here, and this is basically where it ends. This is so far where I'm just charging a bunch of lipos. That is not a great solution. Most people don't charge lipos in their living room, but you know, whatever works. And yeah, that's about it. So that's the house so far. It's been working really well. It's, hold on, let me turn the camera around. Actually, I'll just switch to this one. The house has been so much better for my mental health. Things really got pretty rough at the end of living in that one-bedroom apartment. There's just way too much stuff here. I think, you know, manufacturing Signal and then all of the different projects were starting to really take up a lot of space, and the light was super low. I don't know. You're not here to hear me complain about living situation. So thank you all for funding this project, for making it literally what it is, and for allowing incredible things like this to happen. This is all because of you. So thank you all very much. Thanks for the patience with these slow update videos. Hopefully we're gonna get back to one a week or so. And I think that's all for now. I've been streaming a lot. I'd like to do some more maybe CAD streams or coding streams for Sprite. I did a couple of those so far, and they should be linked down below, I think. Or again, if you're not part of the Discord, you're definitely gonna want to become a part of the Discord. If you're a patron, you can do that whenever. And if you're having trouble with it, you can reach out to, I don't know, any other patron or me just on the messages thing on Patreon. That's been pretty reliable. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks again for supporting this project. I can't say it enough, but it's incredible. All right, I'm gonna stop talking now because I gotta film an update video for Sprite, and I will talk to you all soon. If you're in the US or celebrate it, happy Thanksgiving. That's it. Okay, goodbye.